Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And in today's program, we're going to be talking about a conversation that's going on between three people. And these people work at a restaurant. And they're trying to figure out some kind of promotion to help bring in business during the World Cup. As you know, the World Cup is taking place this year. A little later in the year. It usually takes place during the summer months. But because Qatar is so hot, they're having it later in the year. So things are a little bit cooler.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who wants to go traveling to Qatar in the summer. It is so hot. We think it's hot here, but not even, it's not even, I don't know, you can't even compare the two. It's really hot there. It's like an oven. That's kind of like the climate where I grew up in Arizona. It's a desert. And it just doesn't ever cool down too much in the summer. But it's not humid. People always say that, but it's dry. It's a dry heat. You know what? When it's like 41, 42 degrees Celsius, it doesn't matter if it's a dry heat. I could actually cook an egg on the sidewalk in front of my house growing up. That's how hot it is.
My goodness, that
crazy.
is hot. And yes, indeed, in the Middle East, it can get quite hot there. So again, the World Cup is taking place in November and December of this year. And again, we've got Susie, Christian, and Nora talking about some kind of promotion for the restaurant to kind of take advantage of the World Cup to get people to come in, to have dinner, maybe watch the games on their TVs there. Who knows? So let's listen to their conversation and find out what sort of ideas they come up with.
Did you know that the Qatar World Cup is almost upon us? Nearly everyone is saying that this will be the most incredible sporting event of the year.
It's going to be intense. Our restaurant will be streaming every match live from November 21st through December 18th.
That reminds me, I need to set up the projector and large screens before the first kickoff.
I think this will be a fabulous opportunity to generate some additional revenue. Does anyone have any suggestions for marketing this event?
Maybe we can create a special set menu for each team by serving dishes that are popular in those countries.
I'll speak to the chef about it. In all likelihood, it will require extra work for them, as there are 32 teams in the tournament. But that's an outstanding idea.
We should also consider decorating the entire restaurant with a World Cup theme. We could hang up some flags, jerseys, and memorabilia to set the atmosphere.
Perhaps we should also arrange some sort of competition to draw even more attention. Customers could try to guess what the final score of each match will be.
Yes, and if they're correct, we can reward them with a free beverage or other item from the menu after the match.
That's a splendid idea as well. Let's put all of this information together and create some advertisements. Then, we'll post the information on social media to make our customers aware of our promotions.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's discuss the entire contents of today's lesson. Again, it's our TOEIC lesson for the month of November. So it's Unit 11, and we are kicking off a World Cup marketing promotion. So, of course, the World Cup competition begins in a couple of days, and this conversation may have taken place several months ago because you need to be prepared for these sorts of things. If they were having this conversation right now, I think it would be too late to get any kind of promotion going with the first match coming up very soon. But here they're kicking off a World Cup marketing promotion. It's interesting that a game of soccer or a game of football begins with a kickoff. One team kicks the ball into play and the game begins. So to kick off usually means to start something in general usage, and in this case, they're starting a World Cup marketing promotion. They're going to try to bring in more business with this promotion. So promotion is the noun form of the verb to promote. And to promote means you do things to get people to know more about your thing, to bring in more business and things like that. And, of course, the noun form is promotion. We're going to have a we're going to have a product promotion tomorrow. So everybody needs to come and be excited about our new campaign.
That's right. And there are different ways. Of course, you could have some advertisements, which they talked about. Maybe if you're a department store, you want to have a sale. That's a promotion. So you want people to come into your store, so you lower the prices of different items. That's a nice way to promote the store. So there are different types of promotions. So like Tom said, it's just a way to make a product or event more popular, more successful, especially through advertising or some kind of marketing campaign.
Exactly. So here Susie begins the conversation. I guess they're having a meeting here. And she says, did you know that the Qatar World Cup is almost upon us? So if something is almost upon you, it's almost ready to happen. It's going to happen very soon. And she goes on to say, nearly everyone is saying that this will be the most incredible sporting event of the year. So there are various sporting events that take place over the course of a year. And I suppose in the United States, the Super Bowl or the World Series, those are incredible sporting events, at least in the United States, but baseball and American football are not popular in other countries. So therefore, soccer has more global appeal because there are soccer fans in virtually every country except for the United States.
Right.
Or fewer in the United States, I should say. You can't say there are no soccer fans in the U.S., but
there's some.
Yeah, there aren't as many as there are in, say, England or Brazil.
Yeah, no. In other parts of the world.
Or Cameroon or whatever.
Yeah, I can't even name the soccer team that we have in Phoenix, Arizona, where I grew up. But anyway, I think that Susie goes on to say that it's going to be incredible. It's an incredible sporting event. Incredible, hard to believe, pretty extraordinary. It's going to be a big deal, we would say. Now, Christian says it's going to be intense. If you describe something that's going to be intense, there's going to be a lot of excitement, probably to an extreme degree. But you could also say something's intense when a lot of people are concentrated on doing something. It involves a lot that happens in a short amount of time. So it's going to be intense. They've got a lot of work to prepare for this particular marketing promotion. And now Christian says our restaurant, so they work for a restaurant, they will be streaming every match live from November 21st through December 18th. So it's kind of fun to go to a restaurant or a bar and watch a sporting event. It might be a baseball game or a basketball game. A lot of people like to go so that they're around other sports fans. So that's what Christian says. And then Nora says, that reminds me, I need to set up the projector and large screens before the first kickoff. So they're going to use a projector so that people will be able to look at the screen, which is much bigger than a TV set.
And this is going to be a restaurant, so they're going to have a lot of people in there watching the game. Now, Susie says, I think this will be a fabulous opportunity to generate some additional revenue. Indeed, lots of people are thinking of ways to capitalize on the World Cup. I'm sure lots of fast food restaurants are having promotions. They're probably offering special prices on meals, and you can get a souvenir, say soccer ball or something like that, and that might attract more business. And for the restaurant here, Susie thinks it's a fabulous opportunity, a great chance to increase our revenue. Revenue, of course, is money that you can bring in as a result of sales of a product or service. And indeed, if they can bring more people into their restaurant, they're going to make more money.
They sure are, and we all want more revenue if we're working for a business or we own a business. Christian says maybe we can create a special set menu. A set menu is when they offer just a group of dishes together that you can't exchange one for another. So those are sometimes easier for restaurants to prepare as well. So they would have a special set menu for each team by serving dishes that are popular in those countries. So the chef would have to be very well educated or well versed in different types of cuisine to come up with those dishes, but it sounds like a cute idea.
Sounds like a cute idea, but I think it's a tall order.
Yeah, hard.
Because there are so many different countries represented in the World Cup. They're going to have to come up with a major menu to offer food from all these different countries, from Africa and South America and Europe and places like that. But still, it's a sincere suggestion. But Susie says, does anyone have any suggestions for marketing this event? In other words, how can we promote this event? How can we let people know about what's going on and get them to come in? Again, Christian made that suggestion of serving different dishes from different countries, and Susie says, well, I'll speak to the chef about it. So yeah, I don't think the chef would be happy about suddenly having to prepare 32 or 16. How many teams are in there? 32, I think.
They said 32,
32 teams.
Crazy.
You'd have to come up with a menu with dishes from 32 different countries. I think the chef would probably not be too happy about that. So Susie does the smart thing here, and she says she's going to talk to the chef about it. Who knows? Maybe the chef will enjoy the challenge of coming up with 32 different dishes. And she goes on to say, in all likelihood, it will require extra work for them as there are 32 teams in the tournament. So in all likelihood just means it is very likely this is probably going to happen. It will be extra work for the chefs because there are so many teams in the tournament. And we're describing this competition as a tournament. A tournament usually is a sports competition that involves lots and lots of different teams.
It does. And what happens is all of these teams play against each other in different rounds. So if you start out together, maybe there are 8 teams that start out. They're paired off. They play each other. The winners move on. The losers go away. Or they play different rounds that end up giving them second or third place. But at the end of everything, at the end of the tournament, that is, there's one team left or one person left. We use tournament to talk about golf tournaments, and tennis tournaments. They use that particular language, but you don't use it in American football or basketball or baseball. We use different words like World Series or the NBA Finals. So we use different terminology for different sports.
Okay, so again, that was Christian's suggestion to serve different food from each country participating in the tournament. And here's Nora's suggestion. She says we should also consider decorating the entire restaurant with a World Cup theme. It does make sense. You know, you could have different kinds of soccer balls mounted on the walls, the flags from the different countries, maybe streamers and banners and stuff like that to try to get people interested in coming in there because it's different, it's unique, and they can probably take some interesting selfies. Here we are at the restaurant having a World Cup promotion, and, we're rooting for our favorite team here. So, yeah, this is great coming here for food. And yes, indeed, those decorations actually add to the festive atmosphere.
So she suggests they could hang up some flags from different countries participating. Jerseys are the sports shirts that athletes wear with their name sometimes no name, but a number for sure. And also memorabilia. Memorabilia is just souvenirs. It's another name for souvenirs. So when I go to the Yankees game, sometimes I'll take home a special glass or mug that had a drink I had so I can keep it and use it in the future. Or a baseball cap or a baseball that's been signed by an athlete. Those are some types of memorabilia or souvenirs from different events. Christian says we could also arrange some sort of competition to draw even more attention. Customers could try to guess what the final score of each match will be. That sounds like gambling, and that sounds fun. It's always fun to kind of have a competition that way.
It's probably okay if they just give out food or something as a prize. You could win, say, a free piece of cheesecake or something if you guess who's going to win the game between South Korea and whoever. And indeed, that it might be difficult to determine a winner because soccer is such a low-scoring sport. A lot of the scores may be the same, 0-0 or 1-0 or something like that. And Nora says yes, and if they're correct, we can reward them with a free beverage or other item from the menu after the match. So here we've got the word reward as a verb. That just means you get something for providing a service or winning a competition or whatever. And here you can be rewarded with a free beverage. You can win a free beverage if you predict who's going to win the game or if you can guess what the final score of each match will be. And yes, a free beverage is a free drink. It'll probably be non-alcoholic because those are more expensive. Maybe you can get a free Coke or a free Dr. Pepper or whatever. Or maybe, yeah, like I said, a piece of cheesecake or a piece of pie or something. Some other item from the menu after the match is completed.
Of course, they just want customers to come into the restaurant. So they're willing to give them a free item to get them more excited about coming in. So Susie ends up saying that's a splendid idea as well. Let's put all of this information together and create some advertisements. Advertisements could be flyers, it could be an ad in the paper or in a magazine, or even online. There are a lot of ads just going directly to websites now and advertising that way. So she says, we'll post the information on social media. Instagram, Line, those are types of social media platforms. And they want to make their customers aware of our promotions. So you have to have good planning for promotions, but you also have to promote your promotions so they know about them. We're going to take a quick break, listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back.
大家好，我是派老师。今天讲解的是11月17号 Unit 11 Kicking Off a World Cup Marketing Promotion。这一课是多益单元，第一天课程呈现的是关于世界杯足球赛的对话。很多人听到、看到运动比赛就会热血沸腾，但是除了球迷以外，很多餐厅业者每一次只要有世界级的运动赛事正在办，他们就会摩拳擦掌，希望能够抢搭这一波风潮。为什么？这样子呢，就可以推出促销活动，提高营收。好 ，Without further ado， 我们一起看看这一天课程内容到底有哪些学习重点。好，请注意，这里有3个人对话。第一个是 Susie 就说了 ，Did you know that the Qatar World Cup is almost upon us？ 请同学特别注意到这个 almost upon us， 这里请画起来。这里当然指的就是世界杯足球赛快要到了。好，再来，请同学看一下他的朋友 Christian 是怎么回应的呢？他说 It's going to be intense。 请同学把 intense 画起来。好， intense 所指的意思在这里就是指这个比赛的战况一定会很激烈，精彩可期呀。好，那Our restaurant will be streaming every match live. 好，请同学特别注意 streaming 这个单字，请画起来。我想大家对这个字应该都不陌生，很多同学知道这是跟串流有关系。Streaming alive， 那当然就是串流的直播咯。所以我们餐厅是会把这场比赛，世界杯足球赛每一场呢都会直播。11月21号到12月18号。再来，请同学看到另外一位朋友呢，这个 Nora 也插话了，他就说 I need to set up the projector。 我要把投影机架起来 set up the projector。 除了这个以外，还有 large screens， 还有大萤幕也要架起来 before the first kickoff。 其实最刚开始也就是从足球来的，开球。好，所以就是第一场比赛之前要把这些东西设备都弄好。接下来 Susie 回应了， Susie 说这是赚大钱的机会哦， A fabulous opportunity to generate some additional revenue。 请同学特别注意词语搭配，没错，增加营收创造营收 generate some additional revenue。 好，再来请同学看到 Christian 怎么回应啊 他脑筋动得也很快，很有商业头脑。他就说 Maybe we can create a special set menu for each team. 好，这里呢就是我们可以为每支球队制作一份特别的套餐，来供应这些国家受欢迎的餐点。再来，请同学看到 Susie， 她后面就讲到了这场比赛 The Tournament， 总共有几队呢？有32队。好，那所以要准备的餐点就很多啊。不过这个想法的确不错，所以是在回应 Christian。而 Nora 就说 We should also consider decorating the entire restaurant with a World Cup theme. 好，所以 Nora 脑筋也动得很快，他就想到要吸引顾客前来，可能店里的装潢不用动，但是室内里面的一些装饰可能要稍微改变一下，要走世足风。好，所以 consider 是考虑，后面要加 VING。为什么要这么做呢？因为想要创造出世足赛正在进行的氛围 set the atmosphere。 好，再来请同学看到 Christian 这里呢又有新的想法了，他的点子真的很多哦。他说其实我们还可以办一些比赛啊。比什么呢？看谁会猜，谁比较会猜哪一队能够得分多少，然后哪一队会赢。那 Nora 对于这个点子也很感兴趣，她说 Yes, and if they are correct, we can reward them with a free beverage or other item from the menu after the match. 所以猜对的人是有奖赏的。再来 Susie 也对 Nora 刚刚的建议呢表示赞同赞赏，所以他就说 That's a splendid idea as well. 这个想法也很不错。好的，那以上呢就是我们针对这个多益单元对话的部分所做的中文讲解。谢谢大家。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, let's continue with our lesson. Remember, during a meeting, people are coming up with suggestions or recommendations. So some people may have expertise in a certain field, and they can provide inside information or recommendation. So here's some ways that you can do this. These are some useful expressions that have to do with recommending something. And the first one we have here is an example sentence. I'll read it. It says, I'd suggest that we raise our prices to keep up with inflation. So the key word here is suggest. That is a verb, actually, and that's what you do when you propose something for other people to consider. Well, let me make a suggestion. I would suggest that we raise our prices because inflation's going around. Prices are going up out there. The money supply is increasing, so we don't want to lose money. So yeah, it's a good idea to raise our prices.
Now notice, guys, these three that we're showing you right here, suggest, recommend, and advise, all are considered to be subjunctive, which are they're very special verbs. Let's just say that. Once you learn it, you'll never forget, but you need to learn it. And it's a little different than any other verb. So I suggest that we, or I suggest we. You don't have to have that in there. But notice if I change what we're talking about, the pronoun, it doesn't change the verb tense. So I suggest he raise our prices. I suggest they raise their prices. I suggest we do something. Notice that the verb doesn't change. So it's a special type of word, and it's called the subjunctive. So do some looking up. There are about, I would say, 10 to 15 of these types of verbs that are considered to be used in the subjunctive form that you need to learn, especially if you go into business, because it's suggest, recommend, advise. Those are big verbs that we use quite often.
And you could use the word would. I would suggest. It makes it a little softer. It makes you less aggressive. But you could still say, I suggest. And yeah, you'd sound a little aggressive if you say it that way, but it's okay. And here's the next one, number 2. It says, I recommend. You could also say, I'd recommend. We hire more workers to improve our customer service. So perhaps this company has received a lot of complaints about their customer service. So this person is recommending that they hire more workers to improve their customer service. Maybe the current customer service workers are overworked and they're tired, they're exhausted, they feel unappreciated. So when a customer calls in for some information, the person's kind of, what do you want? I don't have time to talk to you right now. So yes, that would be quite rude. And maybe if they had more workers, they would be less rude and more polite.
Now, number 3 is also a subjunctive, but they're using the verb ing or gerund with it. So I wouldn't advise doing something is the pattern. I would suggest doing this. I recommend doing something. So notice you can use the gerund form with the subjunctive as well. So I wouldn't advise reducing vacation days. You could also say, I wouldn't advise we reduce vacation days. That's correct too. I wouldn't advise that we reduce. You can always put the that in there. Both are correct. Here's our discussion question, Tom. Do you enjoy watching sports? Why or why not?
Yes, I do enjoy watching sports, but it depends on the sport. Some sports are kind of boring, some are exciting. My favorite sport to watch is ice hockey. I think there's a lot of action, and they don't have timeouts so often.
They have a lot of fights.
Well, I don't really like the fights so much because fighting on skates isn't really entertaining because you can't really do much if you're fighting wearing skates. But yeah, hockey is fun to watch. I also like to watch bicycle races or cycling. How about you, Stephanie?
Mostly baseball, but in the winter, not so much in Taiwan, but when I lived in New York and the winters were cold, I would turn on golf tournaments on my TV and turn down the sound just to see green grass.
Oh, that's an interesting suggestion, but of course that's not to watch the sport so much as it is to look at the grass.
I'm not into golf, sorry.
Yeah, it is, well, it takes a special kind of appreciation to enjoy golf.
Yeah, my brothers love it.
Well, good for them. There's no accounting for taste. And please join us again next time when we look at a sort of advertisement for this promotion occurring at Ollie's Restaurant. Please make sure you join us then. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.